All right, Kentucky, number 3, Texas. Texas, 20.5-point favorite for this one. The over-under I have is 2 references to Kentucky's Ole Miss win. Got to bring it up. Got to continue to bring it up. You have to bring it up every time that Kentucky plays one of these tough road games because it makes it seem like they have a chance. And maybe they kind of do. Maybe they kind of do for this reason. Fought well at Tennessee as well. For whatever reason, top 10 teams have brought out the best for Kentucky football this year. The Georgia game went down to the wire, won at Ole Miss. It was a 3-point game with 5 minutes left at Tennessee. Okay. And yeah, Tennessee felt like it was kind of in control of that one, but still, Kentucky's 3 best games against SEC competition were against top 10 teams in the country. So can they make it a 4th? I think that's possible.
Such a funny but true. Yeah, good point.
Just as wild as that might sound for how frustrating a year this has been for Kentucky, 3 touchdown spread. We know that A&M is on deck for Texas. I'm not saying that Sark is going to save all the good plays. He's got more than enough good plays in his arsenal to make sure that some of them are on display against Kentucky as well. Okay, he's not naive enough to think they're just going to run the ball through the A gap and that's how you're going to find your way to somehow win a game like this. All right, we know that. At the same time, like as good as Texas has been, as in control as they have felt for a lot of this season, playing with a lead and kind of always feeling like, all right, yeah, maybe we're going to turn the ball over early or something like that, but we trust our defense. We trust Quinn Ewers to kind of figure things out. They've just kind of felt like a team in control. We also know that Texas's offense really only had one SEC game in which it went off. And that was, I think, the Florida game when the Gators were very clearly overmatched. I think they were missing 3. Yeah, they're missing 3 starters from their defensive backfield. They were very injury riddled in that game. And if you're scoreboard watching and you want to tell me, the Texas offense went off against Oklahoma.
It was a quarterback thing with Texas too.
Wait, say it again.
But like the Florida's quarterback situation was just very fluid and weird. That was like the LA situation we were joking about. So if you can't move the ball, eventually your defense is just gonna be like, all right, guys.
Yeah, and they very much were dominant in that one, pretty much in every possible way. But if you're telling me the Oklahoma game was also dominant for the Texas offense,
same situation exactly. Wow,
different because it took Texas longer to get going. Texas was up 7-3 with 2.5 minutes left in the first half. So let's kind of be honest with who this Texas offense has been. I'm definitely taking Kentucky to cover. Okay?
Oh, yeah. And my point there is they leaned on them. Like the Texas just leaned on Oklahoma because they knew their offense couldn't keep up. And when the dam broke, it was over. Same deal as Florida. It's like, yeah, because they got the pick to start the game, and Oklahoma's offense played okay, but Texas was just sitting there going, you guys got to play offense against PK,
Yeah. And that for most teams has not been a very good formula. It really hasn't. Even Georgia, it was a really tough sledding for a good chunk of that day against that Texas defense. I think Kentucky's done some things better in the run game that make me think that they can at least have 2 scoring drives on the road, even against Texas in this top-ranked defense in terms of yards per play allowed. But I'll say this is kind of another one of those ho-hum Texas wins. I'm going to say 24-10 Texas. Too much of that Texas pass rush getting in the ear of Brock Vandagriff. Another big day for Colin Simmons, who, if that guy hasn't already clinched freshman All-America honors, I'll be stunned. Needs to be in the All-SEC conversation with the things that he has done. The 5-star freshman has just been so fun to watch. This is a big-time matchup for him. Very favorable spot with those Kentucky tackles, how much they have struggled at times. But by the way, just in case we need to have the stakes laid out for this one, Kentucky lost. That would mean missing a bowl game for the first time since 2015. Their bowl game will be against Louisville, kind of either way. We know how Mark Stoops loves to get up for that one. A Texas win would mean 10 wins in consecutive seasons for the first time since 2008, 2009.
Wow.
Not quite willing to say yet Texas is back, but returning and very close to being back if things happen over the course of the next month.
Yeah, I think that's okay. Wait, Texas makes the SEC championship. Are they back?
You know what? I'm going to say yes. Because that would mean you're the only one-loss team in the SEC.
You're making the playoff if you make the SEC championship game as Texas, pretty much. Unless you just yeah, there would be no way to do one and not the other because of the tiebreaker with A&M. So you couldn't really be a 2-loss team. Anyway, yeah. So I mean,
unless they lose to Kentucky and then beat A&M. That would be the
Right.
only way.
Yeah, that would be funny. But yeah, I'm this is kind of an interesting one to me because exactly to your point, like something has to give here. And as I keep predicting or thinking that Texas is going to break these games open, right? And it gave like even you could technically say they got hot late against Vandy, but again, the defense turning an offense, right? Now that's something that can be had against Kentucky for sure. Their quarterback situation is always is awful. It's also not been great. Their defense has been inconsistent in ways that have become more accepted in the last 2 to 3 years under Stoops, but something you wouldn't often see under Stoops. But there's just something a little bit off about Texas offense. Exactly what you just said. It's we talked about Quinn Ewers and the accuracy thing, the new receivers, whatever it would be. But when Kentucky is playing well, they are shortening the game and they are running the ball, doing all that stuff. I think that Texas's O-line is up to the challenge of Kentucky's D-line, which has often been something that's like in the Ole Miss game, their D-line played really well. And I think that, at the end of the day, I think Sark has just kind of proven that he can get out of these, squirrel his way out of these situations, unless it's the Georgia game, which who among us, right? And so, yeah, point being, I think Texas should be a little bit more recession-proof here because I think that Sark has become real about the limitations of his team. Whereas like Lane Kiffin at times, the way he lost to Kentucky was very, but we're Ole Miss and we're going to go out there and figure this out. And
I agree.
Not today, Hoss.
Yeah, I think Sark is better. It has a better feel for what his offense kind of needs in those moments and what Ewers needs to kind of get going and some of those quick hitting type things. And Sark always talks about, if I can get Quinn in a rhythm, man, he all of a sudden it's just lethal. And it's kind of what he did in that Vandy game where it was 18 consecutive completions that he had after that really bad start. And a lot of that is scheme. A lot of that is Sark being able to kind of find those right ways to know the types of throws that he's going to be able to make and have success, as opposed to, I need to try and take 3 consecutive deep shots with a deep ball that's just really not been there this year. We've talked about that on a weekly basis. I don't know that the deep ball gets going in this one. I don't know that the deep ball needs to get going in this one.
I think it's partially how Lane got in trouble too.
Yeah.
It was just always trying to hit the home run. Just get 4 yards of carry and get out of there.
Yeah. And against Kentucky, sometimes it's a little bit of a tougher thing to do. It just kind of is. So interesting test for Texas. If you're a championship caliber program, you take care of business in a game like this. And again, I don't think Texas is ultimately worried about style points when you continue to see Texas ranked number 3 in the country with that resume that still does not have a win against the CFP top 25. I still think that Texas is in good enough position where just take care of business. And right now you can default to, we have put ourselves in a nice spot to at least get an at-large berth in the college football playoff. Maybe that berth will be all but clinched if they win this game against Kentucky.